Assalamu alaikum, everyone. And we are here with another show from CxO. And again, we usually talk about topics which are common and are important. So today we have a very strong panel. And Bismillah Rahman Rahim. And I hope you guys will benefit from the outcome of this discussion. So I'll request my panelists to introduce themselves before we move forward, starting with Ms. Zunaira Omar, then Mirza Hashaam, then Mr. Ismail, and then Abeer Zain, and then Yousaf Jamshed Saab.
Thank you so much, Noman. My name is Zunaira Omar, and I am the CEO of the Peg. And the Peg is quite a women-heavy organization, so remote work is something that's quite close to our heart. So thank you for having me as part of this panel.
Assalamu alaikum everyone. My name is Mirza Hashaam and I'm currently serving as Director HR for Arthur Lawrence. Arthur Lawrence is a business and IT services provider based out of Houston. Currently, we have certain entire divisions who are working from home, not just in Karachi, outside Karachi as well. So we have a national footprint when it comes to working from home resources. Thank you.
Hello, Assalamu alaikum everyone. My name is Muhammad Ismail and I'm running a technologies company. And from last 2 years working remotely, and I hope it would be a great experience learning from you guys and as well as also share my experience as a remote. Yeah.
Hi, my name is Abeer, and I'm working as HR manager at eSpark Consulting Group, and I have over 5 years of experience. And previously, I worked remotely as well. And in my current company, we are also we have implemented remote work, and we are promoting people to work hybrid and in remote environment as well. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Okay, Mr. Yousaf, can you introduce yourself?
Sorry, I think am I audible, please?
Yes, you are audible. If you can open your camera, that would be nice.
I work as a Chief FinTech Officer for Alif. Alif Innovations. Alif is a tech company in Pakistan, Tajikistan. BNPL e-commerce. Happy to be here. Thank you very much.
See, so we have a diversified, experienced panel, and my name is Noman Saeed. I'm CEO of SA Global Solutions. So we start our session. We start with Ms. Zunaira. So Ms. Zunaira, keeping in view of the COVID situation pre and post COVID, there has been a lot of debate on the subject of work from home. So what are the trends that have evolved in Pakistan, and what are the trends that have been followed in the world globally? And do you think there is any difference between the two, or we are synced?
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Noman. So, if speaking for myself, obviously, I have worked previously before starting the Peg. I was working remotely for a North American company. So right off the bat, I know for a fact, even before COVID came, that remote work does work and is sustainable. There were many of I'm a graduate of FAST Lahore, and many of my classmates were working remotely as well, even when as soon as they graduated, and that's back in 2005. So it's not a new trend per se, but yes, for Pakistan, this is a trend. I think we all had the mindset that 9 to 5 we need to have people in office, but COVID surely brought about a very dynamic shift in this thought process. The Peg was founded in 2020, so we were remote from the very get-go, and as come 2021, when people started shifting back to office models, what we realized was that a hybrid model worked best for us, because it gave us the option to employ people from over Pakistan. So we have team members. We are based in Islamabad, but we have team members sitting in Karachi, in Lahore. One is in Quetta. One is actually from Sawat. So that you can hire from anywhere across Pakistan really opens up your resource pool. Other than that, the hybrid work model, it really works because people who are in Islamabad, they get the chance to meet every week, and then for 1 day or 2 days, and then that sort of helps that team building activity. But other than that, I think the remote model is now very prevalent in Pakistan, and it's proven that that's something that's self-sustaining and it's sustainable. So I would rather say that yes, now there is not a large gap between what international practices were before and now what Pakistan is also implementing in terms of remote work.
Wonderful. So, moving forward on in this direction, what are the challenges that Pakistani company may face while they are transitioning themselves to remote working style and keeping in view of infrastructure and technology? I mean, there is a good standard requirement for infrastructure and technology.
Absolutely. So I think that even so, my company is an SME, so I can't really speak for like large multinational corporations. But even for us, I think the first investment that we had to make was in the technology infrastructure. So investing in project management tools like ClickUp, investing in collaboration tools like Slack. I think that is compulsory for any company. So if you are planning to go purely remote and then you think that you can save up on costs, but that's not true entirely, because these software costs that we're paying in dollars, that really do build up. So again, it's the convenience and the accessibility to a national or a global resource pool. Then again, the cost of this technology infrastructure, as you rightly pointed out, do build. And you can't just say that there will be no cost. There will definitely be cost which grow as your company grows, because you're paying per user. So you have to invest in those for sure.
So, Mirza Saab, coming to you now, if I ask the same question from with you, I mean, what are your practices? How your organization is working? Are you following a hybrid model, or is there something else? Plus, what is the technology and infrastructure cost that you are bearing? So, keeping in view of that, and if you are adopting that, do you think that it saves your cost or it is increasing your cost?
Okay, so Noman Saab, I divide the work from home era into four phases. So one is the pre-COVID era. Uh, it's not like that the work from home practice dawned on us all of a sudden during the COVID era. I had friends in Shell, Pakistan. They had this practice of working from home every now and then. If one gets up and doesn't feel like coming to office and he thinks that he or she can be more productive from working from home that particular day. So I was familiar since with this practice since 2014 and 15, but we hadn't woken up to that realization. So during the COVID era, then it was a scramble for okay, how to enable it to work from home, what will be the costs and what will be the performance monitoring tools. But since it was a need of the hour, it was like come what may, we have to work from home. We don't have any other choice. Uh, then the third phase is, I think, it was somewhere in 2022 when people started realizing about the benefits of work from home. Like uh, there were some resources who were very openly and unapologetically opting and asking for work from home options, so given that some personal or individual circumstances. So companies had to oblige, and then they were at the same time in a place like Karachi for some of the startups, where per square foot real estate cost is very high. People started to think, why not? Since we have a very high rent cost or real estate cost, why not go for this option? But then came somewhere in 2023 came the great return to office, as I call it. That had come around in 2021 in the US and in some other countries, but then uh, it came, I think, in 2023 for Pakistan. And still, they are, they're still doing the CBA, cost benefit analysis, of how whether there are more benefits or whether there are more costs associated with it. When the question that you asked, what are the infrastructure costs? Uh, See, one of our divisions is called Monelli, and it is an accounting app, mainly for clients in the United States and in other countries, not for clients in Pakistan. We have accountants working from home for the entire day, like for Central Standard Time hours. and most of them are work from home moms. These are women who qualified ACCAs and CAs, and they have other qualifications in accountancy, and they got married and they have their families, and they're very happy with us because they can attend at the same time they can work from home. So we are just the enablers for them, and the I don't call it the infrastructure cost, I call it the enabling cost. When we provide them the basic infrastructure, basic tools like the laptop, a headphone, and associated accessories, for example, a UPS and an internet device, and that's about it. So I don't call it infrastructure cost. My resources are working from home. It's an enabling cost. At the same time, I'm not forcing them to come to office. I don't have to engage a workstation for them. So I'm also saving on my rent costs. So and that's where I think that every organization needs to do the CBA. Is it really worthwhile to buy or to take an office on rent in corporate or like somewhere on Shara Faisal or Aya Chandragarh? And do we really have to, even in phase six, for example, phase six or phase seven, or can they go by allowing their resources to work from home and save on their costs, and instead engage resources that, like I said, work from home moms. These were kind of resources which were not able to contribute to the economy previously. Now, thanks to the work from home and the certain awakening to it, we have enabled them to contribute to the economy.
Correct. So, very interesting discussion. As Zunaira started with the hybrid model, and you have added further to it. So now I move to Mr. Smile. Mr. Smile, take this forward with regards to two things. One is that when we go for this option of asking people to work from home, what are the challenges that you think, including the network connectivity, and how does it fit into our culture? I mean, what are the challenges?
Thank you so much, Noman. Well, when we talk about the remote and the hybrid, I think the both are the two different models. If we go 100% remote, they have their own needs, own problems, and when we go with the hybrid, having the both different things. If we talk about specific to the Pakistan, because we are working remotely from last 2 years, and initially, if I share my experience initially in our COVID-19. I told to the HR, I think when we do the stand-up meeting, it should be everybody should turn on the cameras and so sit on to some nice place so we can talk to each other as well when we do the stand-up meeting. And after a few days, HR told me, "Sir, can you please turn off the cameras for everybody, because some people they don't have the nice space or having some background issues, because that time like the Zoom and other things don't have these virtual backgrounds." So if we talk about the Pakistan, really they have their own challenges, own problems. Might be the world don't have these things. So when we go to the remote, there's two things. One is the electricity issue in Pakistan as well as the internet issue. And the same thing is also like the family problems. Like sometimes if someone is working from home, families don't understand this. They think actually he's on to the holidays or he have no any work. So the people they involved also into their own family activities or the other things. So I believe when people go to the remote in Pakistan, they should do some training. Like look, either you are in office or either you are at home. When you are working for office, you should have some dedicated place where you are working from home. There should not be any noise or anything, so you can perform the work, and you should be available in a meeting. Then I introduced like if someone is not responsive, giving the response in 10 minutes, then HR should call. So when we went to the remote in Pakistan, especially because I had that time, I was working with another team in FLP, and they don't have these issues that I face in Pakistan. That people they have the issues in Pakistan. So I would recommend when any company going to the remote in Pakistan, they should realize the two things: either how people will work in a remote, how the internet will work, how electricity will work. So I introduced the hybrid model. If someone having some problems in Pakistan electricity or the internet, he can come to the office, and if they can manage in home, they can. So also I think the government also have to take the initiative for the electricity and the internet. There are two major problems in Pakistan that mostly we are facing in here. And even that's why I divided the team into the two parts. Some people I hired from other countries, so they don't have these issues. So yeah, I think these are just two major issues in remote. And also people, they take the leverage of the remote because they think like if I am working from the remote, I don't to follow the discipline. I don't need to be the available every time. Let's suppose you got some inquiry from the client or some issues from the server side, and you are calling to the talking to the team, and if he's not available, then it will be the problem. So even I am thinking that the many companies coming back onto the office, so people are in office, so they can do the work and they can perform very well. Also, when companies are going to the remote, I think that having the HR also having some responsibility to make a very strong policy, you know, to what would be the policy for the remote, what would be the rules they have to follow.
True.
And in Pakistan, also I've felt the one more thing regarding the remotes, like the discipline. Like the people, they don't have the much understanding of the stand-up meetings, the reports, as well as to the commit the code. These are the specific challenges that I faced during in Pakistan for the remote.
Thank you. Thank you very much. You have covered the basis, and I think these are the challenges that we currently face. So coming to Ms. Abeer, so it's very relevant to you with regards to what Mr. Ismail said with regards to policies and procedures that we need to adopt in
Definitely.
Pakistan. And uh, uh, how do you see it from HR perspective? Which is a better model, and how we can improve it further to maximize benefit, keeping in view of all those companies who are exporting their services.
Okay,
The two
so
separate questions. First, we talk about policies and procedures, and then we come to people who are working remotely, their effectiveness, their implications, and how to monitor their output. So, and the third one is people who are exporting services, how they can take advantage of the situation.
okay, so I believe that all the I mean models have their own pros and cons. So we just need to figure out, I mean, what is more suitable for our company, and I mean how we can implement what we I mean how we can bring that thing into our benefit. So while coming to the policies, I think that HR should design policies in a way that the employees main outcome is basically the result. What we judge is the results, not that not whether the employee is continuously working or they are not. I mean, whether they're present at their seat while they're working remotely. I mean, continuously monitoring them. I don't think that that is more important. But the more important part is whether they at the end of the day, whether the tasks are completed, whether their deliverables are completed.
But can you just emphasize on basic policy that shall be adopted in a company for remote workers?
Yeah, definitely. So, like I mentioned earlier as well, that I mean, it should focus on the employee should. I mean, we should focus. The policy should focus on whether if the employee should, they should focus on the check-ins, whether the employees are checking in at the time, and other than that, that whether the tasks are completed of the employee, and there is effective communication, and the employee well-being as well, the virtual communication. So yeah, these are some of the points that should be included in the policies.
Correct. So, Ms. Zunaira, coming back to you again. Basically, now we come back to the point where data and its security, along with because you see, basically, when you are sharing your ideas and data, you have to make sure that data is also secured, and your pattern or whatever you are delivering, it has its own unique USP. So that also needs to be protected. So in line of this new era, what do you think we should do in this regard?
Absolutely. So, this is something that we don't really implement in our company. I know bigger corporations, they have their own devices that are given to all of their employees, and they are very strict with security measures that have been taken. But we are not at that stage where we're providing all of our team members with these such kind of devices. The best that we can do, obviously, is that we have an NDA signed with them, and then it has like a no conflict policy that's been mentioned in that. In terms of technology, we have a shared base, a shared cloud disk that we use. And at the end of the day, honestly, no data leakage, all of that in a remote system, especially if you don't have like any cybersecurity or any particular devices that you've given them that ensures that, it's all comes down to trust. So right now, we're trying to build a team culture that's very open, and it's mostly trust based, because we don't have the resources right now to build a very robust infrastructure that can ensure that there is no sort of no data theft, or there are no cybersecurity issues. So that's about it.
So, Yusuf Saab, what is your opinion on the same question with regards to data, its security, and what you are sharing with people who are working remotely? Do you think it has any? We should the policy before we implement. Does it have any legal implication? And if yes, then what are those? Yusuf Saab, can you hear us? Okay, so come back to Mirza Saab then. Sir, if we ask the same question from you with regards to data, its security, and work from home policy, before we implement, is there any regulatory requirement with regards to implementing policies, especially with regards to data security and privacy?
I think he's on mute.
Your microphone is off, sir.
Okay, so sorry about that. Yeah, so as I said, what I was saying is that with regards to phishing attacks and hackers threats, and what you asked about regulatory requirements, mainly the regulatory requirements or the compliance queries come from our clients. Our clients are mainly based in the United States, and we have to give them a very strong assurance that no, come what may, under no circumstances our data is under threat. Their data, the client's data is safe with us under all circumstances. Now, the firewalls and the security against the phishing attacks that have been placed in the organizations for a long time. Everyone has a password protection policy in place. Every employee is familiar with that, and that is something very basic for all organizations. That is regardless of whether there is a regulatory requirement or no regulatory requirement. Like data is divine these days. It is like that confidentiality has to be maintained at all times. What the challenges that now work from home this practice has brought is are the Wi-Fi that or the networks that are being used at homes, are they safe? Uh, can they be relied upon? So we have to circumvent against it. So what we do is that we provide our own reliable devices, as Zunaira said, that they don't provide their own devices. So we have to provide our not just the laptops, but we also have to provide internet devices so they have a reliable network connectivity. Uh, what more they can do, the organizations can disable certain like personal uh, data sharing platforms, but that doesn't mean that they can be discouraged from using all social media platforms. But then there has to be a code to it. So that is where mostly the regulatory requirements, the complaints queries are coming from the clients, and with a country like in Pakistan, where uh, if you recall, recently only one of the national websites was hacked by some hackers in India. So it leaves a bad name, and it leaves some vouching for us to do every time we go out to the clients. And that I'm sure that is not just a challenge with Arthur Lawrence is the challenge with every other service exporter. So yes, we are dealing with it. It remains, and we are learning. It's a learning curve actually still, and we are getting there.
Wonderful. So, I mean, if we move forward with regards to that, what do you think? Is it beneficial for the organization to allow their employees to work from home?
Your question is to me.
Yes.
Yes, as I said in my opening monologue, one is like the real estate cost, the savings on the real estate cost. That is the biggest saving in terms of the cost that is comes right off the cuff. Uh, the second is, you cannot monitor certain deliverables on a day-to-day basis. It's not a data entry job. It's not an account. Some jobs are not just accounts job. Like you have to measure the data entries and the debits and credits made daily. Some of the jobs you have to bring the employee into its own comfort zone. So, for example, the UI UX designers, we have our own UI UX designers. I was previously associated with one of the fintechs. We used to have designers and developers who needed their own uh, time for innovation and creativity. So I don't mind if they have their apps and the laptops in their bathtub and they're thinking about it in the shower. What we have enabled them, thanks to the work from home, is their own comfort zone. And as Ismail pointed out previously, that they have issues with the families or there's unwanted and uninvited sounds interrupting. Yeah, that is the challenge. One of the things that I used to point out after COVID, and I keep bringing up the real estate question. When you look at some of the real estate or the apartments advertisements in the US or somewhere in Europe, they tell you that there's a specific place in the apartments which is called a study or a library. Now, you never come across an advertisement in Pakistan where there is a studio apartment or an apartment or even a bungalow where there is a dedicated study for it. So there is no concept of an individual, be it a man of the family or the woman of the family, to having their own time to themselves and spending some time in reading or thinking or writing. So I hope that the realization comes and that addresses solved. But yeah, so what the biggest benefits to any organization is just enabling enabling the employee into his or her own comfort zone and the real estate costs that we are saving on it. But I do agree with what Abeer said, that there have to be some performance measurements matrices in place, and they have to be very deliverables based. If you go by the conventional way, like the person has to be online 9 to 5, although as much as we'd like to some discipline to be there, but yes, there has to be a deliverables based model if you are going by the work from home
I'm
practice.
in a video call right now.
Okay. So, coming back to Smile Sub, we carry the same area, but before that, we just take a recap of what we have discussed so far: the challenges, the possibilities, the model that we should adopt, the policy implication, the regulatory requirements, and also the pros and cons. So now, having covered these, uh, do you think that Pakistan uh, requires research in this area in terms of getting into work from home and select the model which is or select the best suitable model based on the industry? What is your opinion on that?
Okay. Well, when we talk about the model and the talk about the country, I don't think it's like that for the country. We can talk about the industry to industry and then again company to company, like that. Each company and each industry have their own requirements. And if we talk specifically about the IT, yes, IT can adopt easily, like the remote and the hybrid model. And the company has, I think, is a responsibility regarding to teach about the model of the remote as well as the hybrid, the responsibilities, ethics, and a lot of stuff. And I think we can start from the universities, like the universities, like give some training, even like from last 2, 3 years, even the 4 years now, the people have the much understanding about the remote and the hybrid model, like the, yes, I have the responsibilities, I have the some ethics, so I have to deliver my work. Like either I'm working from home or the office, I think it doesn't matter. Matter is this, like what you are doing and what responsibility do you have, you know. So I don't think like that is depending on the country have the responsibility. It is the responsibility of the industry as well as the universities where students are coming from, the which universities. So if we are going to adopt this model and we are going to train the people like the look like that, it doesn't matter whether you are working from home or the office. You should like that take the responsibilities and the delivery, because if like that you are performing well either from home or the office, company is growing, you will also grow as well as you will get the more benefits. People are moving from the 5 days to the 4 days, even the 3 days to working. How it is possible? Because it's only happened the people were performing the things they were covering in a 5 days, they start covering in a 3 days or the 4 days. So if
So
everybody
the
is
efficiency
performing
is
and the
increasing.
yeah the consultant, and if we talk about the cost and other stuff, and I think again it depends on to the model, and as per my personal experience, if it's a hybrid model, company is not saving anything, company have the same expense, like the same tools they are using, same rent they are paying, only like the onto the resources side or the employee side, yes, they are saving the time and the commute as well as the some cost. But I believe like the question is this, like the performance and the like the productivity, this is the more important. One thing I would like to add in a remote is mental health, because I felt like when you are working remotely, there is also the problem that the people start feeling the depression, either like is a like the management or the employees. So company should also focus on this thing. So it should be some activities, either is a remotely or either is some fun activities in offices or the anywhere else. I started it, but I failed because of, again, is some cultural problems, because sometimes people are not ready to do the activities remotely. Like I introduced the virtual lunch, to do the virtual lunch together. But I think again these are some
Yes,
things that
definitely.
we
Yes.
having a some in some areas there's a lot of improvements, and we can start from the universities as well as from the company.
Thank you. Very well said, Mr. Smile. Ms. Abeer, we carry this momentum and we come to you. So, when you hire people in your organization, and what is your experience with regards to people when you hire them for work from home? And how do you ensure that they are not the other challenge that normally people face, especially in tech industry, is that one person is working for three companies while working remotely. So how can you ensure that they give their time, which is fine, but how do you measure that, because there's a confidentiality issue also in it. So how do you address that? How do we address that?
Okay, so I have previously worked in a remote company, and being in HR, what we used to do is we used to, cross check with the previous organization as well, and we used to, get the resignations from their previous organization. We used to keep a check on their LinkedIn profiles, and in the while working in the, in the remote environment, what we did as an HR was, which was something new for me as well, was giving, onboarding candidates in a, in a remote environment. So what we did was we used to make a presentation, and we used to give the introduction to the candidate remotely, on Zoom. And yeah, we used to make sure that the candidate is up to date, and then we used to, hand them over to their team lead, and we used to, keep a check with the candidate, in the start 2 weeks we used to keep a check-in every other day with them if they're fine with it, because usually mostly people were, on site, and then they were moving to remote. So that was a change for them as well. So we used to keep a check on them, whether they're fine with it, whether they are, whether they're not facing any sort of issues. So yeah, keeping a check with the candidate is with a new employee is very important.
Yes, but do you think with all these checks, we are able to cover the bases with regards to multiple multiple jobs that people working from home are doing. And I mean, this is a challenge which is a global challenge actually. It's not in Pakistan; it's everywhere.
Definitely. Yeah, it does. It does eliminate some of the points, but yeah, it does not. It does not completely give the surety that that the employee is completely fine with it. Yes, but it does eliminate some of the points.
Thank you, Ms. Zunaira. Basically, I would like to ask that if you have any examples in Pakistan that which is very successfully running their business while using hybrid or work from home model, and if you can also let us know that what is your opinion about work from home and the ethics part of working from home.
Absolutely. So I think that speaking of businesses that work remotely, I would want to quote my business for sure, because the one of the main reasons why we switched to a remote model was, as Mitch also pointed out, it's basically to enable women. So, as I said, that about 80% of our workforce are women, and we have these very highly educated women who cannot work, go to office, or work 9 to 5. We have team members from NUST, we have team members from LUMS. So all of these top tier team members who are just sitting there because they don't have, people are not flexible enough to allow for the fact that they have a family life as well. So that's the challenge that we try to tap, and I think that the model that we are working with. So yes, we have a hybrid working model, but only for those team members who are based in Islamabad and then can come over. Other than that, most of our female team members, they're working remotely from Karachi, from Quetta, from Lahore. And I think that this model really is working out well. Yes, there are plenty of challenges. So as Ismail Saib said, that building a work culture that encourages self accountability, that's the only solution. There are no number of checks that you can put in that cannot be circumvented, right? I think Pakistanis are quite famous for circumventing systems and rules and regulations. So the only thing is trust. Build a inclusive team culture that nurtures. And as everybody said, that everybody's freelancing these days. You cannot stop that. The best you can tell them is that do what you want on your own time, but make sure that there's no client poaching, or there is no sort of conflict of interest, and that's about it. There is no surefire way, and nobody will take the time out to do litigation for all of this. So at the end of the day, that's what it boils down to, the way you build your company. And I'm not sure how this would apply to bigger companies, but for a company size, like I have around 20 plus to 30 employees, this model is working out fine. And I think that these women realize the opportunity that's been provided to them, and they grab it with both hands, and they outperform any other team members just because we've given them this flexibility.
Wonderful. Just to give some examples, globally, uh, we have American Express that I believe have saved about 1.6 billion dollars in 2020 by adopting the hybrid model. So their cost reduced, and they got benefit out of it. So Ms. Zunaira, you were about to say something else.
Yeah, I just said that my brother-in-law, he works for Cisco, and Cisco is one of the biggest firms, and he's been working remotely for the past 15 years. So saying that this is not something that's new, and also the fact that it's not just for small companies. I think that this really echoes that. So again, there are numerous case studies both globally as well
So
as
you have
locally.
touched upon a very good subject that gives advantage, and which we as a nation, as companies, can use is international collaboration, and can ask uh, horses for courses, and can hire people from across outside Pakistan also, because they are working remotely. And that is the reason why American Express made that money. Shopify in Pakistan is also an example. because the e-commerce business and online business also, you know, had phenomenal profits during this period, and as of now, they are growing. Even in Pakistan, there are a number of startups coming up, and there are a number of startups who have already performed and have graduated. Bazaar is one of them, and few others are also there. So they are making their mark, and maybe we may have a unicorn perhaps this year or early next year. Who knows? So coming back to Mirza Saab, uh, what is the future for remote work or working from home in Pakistan and otherwise also? So, with all these challenges, savings, and the opportunities that we have, what do we need to do in Pakistan so that we are not left behind? And normally, what we do is we do just in time kind of an activity. Do you think proactive approach would be needed? And if needed, why?
So, Noman sir, I will just give you an example. I have friends or relatives and neighbors who have been, like, since I've been living in all of my life in Karachi, who are wholesalers, and they have their shops and wholesale showrooms in like the older part of the city, Jodia Bazaar and Cloth Market and Jama Cloth. I used to see them go to the shops at around 11 or 12 in the, like the Karachi was a late, very late, like we have always been great prices. So now I see that they don't go to the shops at all. Like they've been working from their phones, and since they're wholesalers, they don't need to attend to the customers so that often. Their customers are legacy customers. I see them like mostly working for, thanks to WhatsApp and WeChats and the like. Like I see them working mostly from home, but they are hardly attending to their shops even. So we are, like, at least I'm talking about the city. The future, and I think the inclination towards work from home is a tremendous. Uh, Having said that, there are some challenges when I talk about hybrid model. There are certain resources who have to be at work premises no matter what. So, for example, when you are hiring someone, you have to, and you are interviewing someone, it is always better. I'm always to have in favor of in-person interviews. I've never been in favor of online interviews. And if you want to move them to virtual presence and virtual, like work from home, excuse, excuse me, work from home modes later, that is fine. But actually, at least when you are conducting the assessments and interviews, you have to be. My preference is always on premises. So the future is has to be somewhat a mixture of the two. You have to have some departments, for example, HR, working from offices. So in order to have the assessments in place and to have interviews on premises, and then if the employee and the organization thinks that in their wisdom it is appropriate to move them from home, they can do so very easily, and it's vary from organization to organization whether they want to do have it right away, like in the initial stages when the employee joins, or in some time later they want to have a mandatory 6 months period to work from office, and then they would like to move them to work from home. That will vary. That will come gradually. The policies that you have been asking about, they will come gradually. They will still in an evolving phase. But yes, the future lies in the mixture of the two. Some people will be working from home dedicatedly, but then there will be some resources who will be required to work from office. People, some organizations cannot do away from physical presence.
True. So, Ismail Saab, with this is a very important question that we should take into consideration. Recently, I was reading an article from a new US-based daily. So they were mentioning that there was a drop in other businesses because of work from home. For example, restaurant, travel, and other businesses. So what they are not what they are now doing is they are just bringing the workforce back to office. uh, how do you see it?
Well, again, it depends on to the people and the companies. Like the Zoom, like the was the first company who bring the people back into the office, and the Zoom was the first company that the people took that like the tool in a remote. So the future will determine based on to the people. Like if people are like that taking the responsibilities and that they are delivering, and the companies are not facing any problems, and the industry is growing, then I don't think like that there is a question whether you are working from home or the office. So I think the people will determine the future of the remote. At the same time that the industries also should go like they give the option to work remotely, or the even the if we talk about the little bit more than the IT, like the other office other businesses, they should also give the option to for to give the option to people to order like the e-commerce, like as you talked about the restaurants, like the restaurant should to come onto the online so people can order online food. And there's also like some other activities that every business should give the option to come onto the internet. And the same time like when we talk about the people force and the force and the resources, that it depends on to the resources like how they are going to onto this. If like the company the people are taking the responsibilities, and the country have a strong infrastructure, there is no any problem regarding the internet, as the like the space link, Starlink, yeah, they are giving going to give the global internet, and the people they are taking the responsibility. Then in specific in IT, I think like the office in a future might be we don't need the office, we just need the meetings, and the VR is coming, so we can wear the gadgets, and we can feel like yes, we are in a one room. So remote will be the future, of course, but again, it's company to company. Some people, like even some companies are discouraging now. They are coming the calling the people back to come to the office, and some companies they are going to the remote. So again, it's very specific to the company to company, and industry to industry is not going to be the global like that. Is not to be the policy like that. Yes, this country is 100% remote and this company is 100% remote. I think it would be the might be the every personal choice and the management choices as well as the company choices. And I am thinking in a future people don't need to go to the office. They have some algorithms as well as the robots. They are working the things that we are working right now, and they are doing some creative work. And for the creativity, you don't need to go to the office.
Wonderful. So Ms. Abeer, can you just tell us that how challenging it is to hire an employee, whether it's work from home or otherwise? What are the challenges that you normally face?
Okay, so the most, I mean, common challenge that we face is that the candidate not showing up on the day of the interview. It is something which I'm, and I believe mostly HR personnel are very fed up of that. The candidate, they agree that they would come up for the interview, but then at the very end moment when we are calling them for the I mean to get an update with where they are, and that they just don't show up or they refuse at the very end moment. So that is the most I believe challenging thing for an HR.
Oh, okay. So when you interview for hiring, what is the most important point that you look at, and do you see that most of the interviews that you conduct, they all come up to the mark, or is there a gap?
Okay, so the most important thing, basically, where I'm currently working, this is a software house as well. So, what we do is we stick to the job description, and most importantly, there are some positions over here which I mean, we work, we have on-site opportunities as well, and remote opportunities as well. So, we keep this in mind whether the candidate wants to work on remote, I mean, on-site or remote basis. And other than this, of course, like Mr. Mirza Hashaam said that what he prefers and what I also as an HR prefer is bringing asking the candidate to come up in the office and the one-to-one interview. I think with that interview we can judge the candidate better.
Okay. So, any other point that you would like to mention?
Yeah, like Smile, Mr. Smile, and was also mentioning that the hybrid and remote work basically depends on industry to industry as well. But it also, I would also like to add that it depends on the department to department as well. For instance, like in HR department, I don't think that it is. It is very necessary for HR to be in the office. And moving on in the near future, yeah, we can move to remote. But what I think, personally think, is that it is very important for HR to be in the office. Other than that, so there are some other departments as well. For instance, hardware design engineer departments and other departments which the whole team need to be in the office.
So, thank you, Ms. Abeer. Ms. Zunaira, can you just give us some idea about different organizations which are regulatory bodies or compliances, or they are there to support? So, is there any
Absolutely.
support? Is there any support in this regard? Because for policy making, it has to be a collaborative approach in the sense that the users are also involved and the stakeholders are also there, and the whole lot of bodies should be part of it so that a consensus can be taken in this regard so that industry-wise policy is framed.
Absolutely. So I think that for this, especially for the IT, speaking especially about the IT industry, so there are organizations out there that can really help support and shape how policy are formulated. One of them, obviously, is Pasha. I'm sure you're all familiar with that, Pakistan Association of Software Houses. Obviously, their platform like CxO Global, but also have develop dialogue and build narratives on how the policy should be shaped. Pakistan Software Export Board as well. So all of these are various platforms that I believe that every company should be a part of, because as an individual, I'm not very enough to reach the halls of the ministry. So these are platforms that you can be a part of to build collaborative dialogue. So I think it's very essential to join these for sure.
Other than that, do you have any other body? Do you think that the bodies in this regard are taking this into consideration? Because Pasha again is a software, so they obviously is more focused on tech, but then tech
Yeah.
is everywhere now, and the future is tech. So no matter what you do, tech is involved. So any other example that you have
Yeah.
besides Pasha?
I think that these are some of the few bodies that obviously Chamber of Commerce again. I am a part of the Islambad Women Chamber of Commerce. So they're diverse groups which can help help you be a part of the policy making, right? Direct involvement, I am not aware of any organization. Maybe somebody else collaborate on that. But these are a few groups that I am a part of which help me shape a dialogue where and how I want it. So Chamber for sure. Chamber of Commerce helps me a lot in that regard as well.
Perfect. So, Mr. Mirza, we come to you, continuing the same discussion of how to formulate a policy with regards to work from home and create a balance.
Okay, so I think, as I said, that we are still in an evolving
Excuse me, we
phase,
have to be
but we
short
have.
because time is running and we have to wind up also. So I would request a brief answer on this would be appreciated.
Yeah, I'll try to keep it as brief as possible. There's just one thing that we are missing, and I'm very glad that Ismail brought that up, which is employee well-being as well. So when you're talking about the policies, well, I can speak from personal experience, not with this organization, the organization that I was working with when I was during the COVID. Uh, the day used to start at 9, and since we were working from home, there was no end to the day. once you're in office and you leave the office, that your day ends. And I've experienced this personally, and I saw this like the employees going through this again and again, and having the burning out due to work from home, and that was a quite came all to all of us as quite a surprise. So see, the basics remain the same. There's no substitute for attendance marking. So if you are working for an organization, there has to be a daily time in and time out. There has to be deliverables based performance measurement, and that does not mean that any other policies will be excused. That apply to other employees that do not apply to work from home. So the basics of human resource management, they will always remain the same. The work from home or no work from home hybrid, that does not change. The only thing is that you have to be a very enabling for the employee. You have to ensure that the employee still takes the leaves. That working from home doesn't mean that he's on vacation already. The employee still has to take leaves. The employee still takes leaves. The employee still ends the day by the time he or she is supposed to end it. And during performance measurement, when you're measuring the performance, you have to keep certain things in mind. So, for example, if someone is working from home, you have to see that was there. That, as Smite has repeatedly pointed out, did he or she have appropriate access?
No,
to
you're very right, because you have to create a balance for both sides. You are absolutely right.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
Mr. Smile, what is your take on that?
I think, Noman, if we talk about the policies and the rules, first we have to change the attitude. And I don't think in a 20th century, like the human need the rules. This time, its question is about the ethics and the responsibilities. So if like we are taking the responsibilities and we change the attitude, like yes, we have to do the work. Without doing the work, nothing gonna change. In a company, in a personal life, in anywhere, we have to do the work. That's it. So if people are taking the responsibilities and they are very honest, very ethical, if like in our company is a policy, if you don't want to work today, just honestly message on Slack like that. Today it's not my mood to work. Nobody going to ask a second question to you, like why you are not going to work today. No, it's simple. Don't lie. Be honest. Be transparent. That's it. After that we can implement the policies. We should like as a company, like the
No,
people they should follow
I
the
understand, Mr.
yeah.
Smile, but the question is not about that. It's about favorable policy in a way that why I'm saying is because this is the
Mm-hmm.
future. I give you an example. For example, Hitachi has globally have allowed people to work from home for 4 days a week, and they are using the hybrid model, and so that the remaining 2 days you can come to office or as and when need. Likewise, Twitter, they all work from home mostly. They have, it's in their contract. They are allowed to do so. So we as a nation, we need to export our services in all fields. So based on that, we need to adopt to the situation. Not only adopt, but also learn from others and bring the good part into our system in such a way that it becomes a norm.
Mhm. Yeah, when we talk about the exporting the services to the internationally, again, it comes onto the country. Like how you can export the services when your infrastructure is very poor, when people they don't have the
Thank you,
ethics.
Mr. Smile. I'm very sorry, time is short, so I have to wrap it up. I only have 1.5 minutes before I ask Mr.
Okay,
Beer.
okay, it's okay.
Mr. Beer.
Yes. Okay, so yeah, to that I would like to add that it is important to create, fostering a culture of trust as well, so that when the employees are working remotely, we know, and the employer also knows what the employee is working on, and this is something which I think is very important, creating
So with
culture of
this,
trust.
I thank all my panelists for their excellent comments, and I hope audience will benefit from it. So what we did today is we covered which is the best model and work from home model and why. What are the things that needs to be taken care of? What are the do's and don'ts? How we can effectively monitor performance while working from home. We also touched upon the ethical side of it. Above all, we just tried to bring a balance between the two sides. it's not about one side only. There's other also. We also discuss some international experiences, some local experiences, and the hiring process and the issues. Also, we also talked about various bodies who are supporting us to proactively, adopt such things in our system so that it becomes a norm eventually. Pasha is one of them, and there are a host of others, regulatory bodies, others who may be part of it, and they are doing their jobs. But what we need is something that is missing from the whole system is collaboration. So when you don't collaborate, you don't come out with a policy, and without research, it becomes almost difficult. In fact, it's almost impossible to predict based on any research or database. And lastly, we also discussed about how to secure data and data privacy, and how you can ensure that its safety and your plans. So with this, I thank all my panelists, and I hope you guys have enjoyed it. Thank you, CxO, for another good session, and thank you all the panelists. Allah Hafiz.
Thank you, Noman sir,
Thank
for
you.
the
Thank you so much,
session.
Mansuban. Thank you, Jay. Allah Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz.
Yeah.